So there's a certain thing that happened.
With a certain former president of the United States.
Yup.
A certain conviction of said 34 felonies due to hush money payments to said adult film actress that was covered up and then exposed.
Yeah.
By
her name might suggest that she's been on the Weather Channel.
Right. I feel like I'm on
and
like the news
whiskey.
right now, dude, because we're talking about topics like this.
Whiskey.
She
I feel
drinks
hella
whiskey
proper.
on the Weather Channel.
Like, thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the
Thank you
5
for
o'clock
tuning in
news.
back to the 8 p.m. Fart Friend special.
Yeah.
With your host, Xavier Price, James Withee, Nicole Reeves, and Adam Williams. We'll be cracking topos and drinking doses.
That's it.
While we give you our take on
Cashing
this.
checks and snapping necks.
Yeah, oh God. All right, so it's 30 seconds. So essentially, the former leader of our free world,
Number 45.
Donald Trump.
The Don.
He got caught up
Like a
on 34
WWE.
felonies for paying off that porn star Stormy Daniels, and then that snitching dude in his camp threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
And got him convicted in 34 felonies. So what I want to talk about is that shit happened. What do y'all think
He's obviously going to appeal.
is going to happen
So
going
that
forward?
Mic check on UX.
I think that might have been me, actually.
That was me.
Right?
Oh,
It
no,
was
it's
me.
you.
His
It's,
arm was on
it's
it.
always you.
Yeah, I'm the one.
So he's obviously going to appeal. That will basically happen within the next, before the end of the year, from my understanding. I think it happens in like November.
Bro, is
During
he the
election time.
candidate for the Republicans or not?
I believe
Right.
so.
So
I think he is.
Yeah, and he's able to continue as a candidate.
That's wow. That's what I think is crazy.
I know.
Like convicted felons can run for president.
And
Like-
convicted felons can run for president.
That's crazy. You ain't
James,
serve no
I
time.
would vote for you
I would
so
too.
fast.
You ain't serve no time or nothing though. I mean, like I feel like you serve your time, you do your like
Man,
yeah,
I just
run
feel
for
like
president. But like
Anybody
I mean,
out
Hitler
here
was
could
a
be.
felon.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
How?
He got locked up for trying to make they call it the Great Putsch, which was basically like they were on the Capitol building.
so
in
January
Germany.
6th.
Same exact type of situation.
No
where there was
way.
there was social unrest.
That's wild.
And him and the homies, all the Nazi party used to be just be
That's
drinking beers in like basements and talking shit about Jews, and then eventually they were like, "This is our moment," so they went for it,
Whoa.
and the military ended up shooting a bunch of them down, and a few of them died, and Hitler ended up going to jail.
That's
and
crazy.
that's when he went to prison.
That's when he wrote Mein Kampf.
That's when he wrote
right?
Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got out and ended up becoming the chancellor later on.
Oh,
So straight up with the salute. So
Duh, you got to chill out with that.
you know they love black people in Germany though. That's what I've heard
know.
that. Yeah.
My client
Yo,
yesterday
Germany
was
is
special
sick.
ops, and he like was stationed in Germany. He ended up marrying a chick out there, having 2 kids. And
Right.
like,
Was she German or black?
She's German.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She could be both, but
So-
it's unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, in Germany, do they like overcompensate for black people now?
I just
like,
know that they're
Yeah,
he would be
exactly.
like a
so
celebrity
good.
over there.
You guys
He would
are
just be
good.
like a god.
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
that's what the homie told me. He's black. He was like, "You go over there, it's like shooting fish in a barrel."
And they'll love you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
He was like, "It's gnarly. You go to Germany, crazy."
Damn. All right, so we were talking about
felons being able to run for president.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. Just the concept of that to me is crazy.
I didn't realize that was legal because it's crazy that they have so many other restrictions on felons
Yeah,
that
You can't have
vote,
a
but
gun.
you
You can't.
you can't do any of that, but you can be the president.
That's crazy.
It's probably because it's unheard of.
because no one would
Unprecedented.
do it.
Nobody
Yeah.
would dare
Yeah.
up until this point.
100%.
I
but-
feel like our presidency is
totally
becoming a little bit more like idiocracy kind of.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what
My
I mean?
first
Where-
wife was a
Absolutely.
tard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How much?
Chill, Scrub.
This is what I think will happen. I think there's a couple things that happen. It could either appeal. He's either gonna just get probation because the justice system for rich and famous people ain't the same justice system for everybody.
Nah, I was in Danbury, Connecticut when Martha Stewart got sentenced, and yeah, she only had to do like 6 months for
This is what I'm saying.
But also,
So
like, what were her
he
living
might get,
conditions?
like
Not
actually
some you've ever been
excellent. Yeah, they were excellent.
This one, I think he might get house arrest, probation,
in. Yep.
or appeal it, and then he ain't gotta do.
I think you're right. I think
One
During
is
an
gonna
appeal, though,
free.
you still live your sentence out while your appeal is
Yeah,
underway.
but if it's probation, what's his probation gonna be?
Probation typically
no
restricts
smoking,
you
no
to a certain
drinking.
state.
You gotta stay in a spot. He can
The
campaign.
president can't do that.
He could campaign from one spot, bro.
That's true. I mean, the
Everybody knows
motherfuckers
who
are
he
running
is.
criminal organizations from inside a prison cell, slam down 24-hour
100%.
lockdown, so it's possible to do that. But is it
he just
the best thing
he
for the
just
country?
live streams all of his presidency.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't
all
matter.
of his,
I could
He pulls
totally,
a cell phone out of his ass and
I
wipes
could-
it down, and then he opens it up on a flip phone. He live streams, gives all his orders, puts
on
it
a
back, you know what
burner.
I'm saying?
On a burner though. No,
Yeah.
he just
He snaps it.
I could totally see him winning the
swallows a SIM
election.
card.
Like this.
there you go.
I could see him still winning the election as a felon.
Oh, for
100%.
sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, I looked at
100%.
the comments on some of the shit that I saw on Instagram for like the news. Quote
Yeah,
unquote.
it's crazy, and people
And
are like, "I'm gonna vote
this-
for him more."
Exactly. They're like, this is even better for him.
Democrats just handed him the election. Like,
Right.
it's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus. Like,
wild as shit.
people
I
give
mean-
zero.
Well, it's not like this
know.
is like a hit to him because like it doesn't. It
doesn't
it
change a
do
whole
anything
lot.
For
He
him,
was already the
really.
bad guy, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
really change.
no
a
one
whole
really
lot.
gives a. Like me personally, I don't give a. They paid off a porn star to keep it hush hush. You know, everybody's.
Every politician is doing that.
Plus,
They
it
all-
was
Every
from
man,
years ago.
every
It was
man
actually-
has
it wasn't
gone
even
someplace that they didn't want to go, but they had to do it at one particular time because
Do you want to elaborate on that?
What?
at a particular
He's like,
individual
it
moment.
happened to me.
you've
No,
never
so
you've
this-
never ran like a
happens
2
to
or
every
a
man.
3 just to get your rocks off. I'm not calling her a 2 or a 3 because she's a porn star. He was just trying to keep that on the low. You never like hit
You saying
somebody.
you just jumped on a grenade and you just don't want to
Everybody's done
yeah, that's
things.
what I'm saying. Everybody's done things that they don't want to talk about publicly.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, and if I
That
And it was
actually
consensual.
makes him more relatable. You know what I mean?
if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, damn, we got to pay this off, dude. Like, she knows that she suck my dick from the back and all kinds of other things.
So
Like,
this was before his
From the back.
presidential candidacy back in what was it 2016?
I thought it was 2016. I'm not sure.
I
though.
think it
Don't
was
quote
right
me
before
on that.
in 2016, something like
so
that.
like I feel him on it, but at the same time, like
he was just trying to, like bury. Some
Is there
shit
not
that was-
anyone better at the same time? It's like, is there not anybody that hasn't been convicted of 34 felonies? You know what I'm saying? That isn't Joe Biden. Because at this point, that's what it's become is Trump
Dude,
and Biden.
and that's what sucks is like, yes,
We don't have
100%.
another
So
choice.
many other
There's
fucking
350
people,
million
but do they
people in
even
this
get
country.
the
Bruh.
opportunity to surface? No.
No, well,
you
the
don't
reason
see
you
that.
can is because of this bipartisan system, right?
Yeah,
We have this
I
system in
know.
place to where it's like, okay, well, the only way to get elected is to have giant amounts of money for your campaign. And the only way to have that amount of money for your campaign is to be based, like,
You
backed
gotta
by
be
these
back
two
on these
political parties.
all the parties.
And so that's why, I mean, Trump's not even, he didn't like identify as a Republican or whatever in the beginning. They basically just did that because they're like, we need a Republican in the White House. You know what I'm saying? So I think the bipartisan system is a big part of the problem.
Well, I just remember like Bernie Sanders was somebody who was I'm not super political. I'm just
Me
saying
neither.
I was at one of Bernie Sanders' speeches.
Oh, yeah,
and
you are then.
I was like diving into like some of the things that he wanted to implement, and he just seemed like he wanted to do better genuinely for the entire country.
He does want to do better. He
And
just
I-
doesn't understand money. That's the problem.
Yes, and I think that's what sucks is like somebody who necessarily has like good intentions doesn't necessarily have money, or like vice versa.
also Trump understands that everyone has TikTok brain now, so he knows how to grab your attention.
He does. He's playing that shit because he's been on TV before with the whole Apprentice thing, so he knows how it is to get publicity, and he
100%.
knows that no publicity is bad publicity. So it's
Grab her by
He
the.
Bro,
Exactly.
he was in Home Alone
Sometimes
too.
you just got to do that, right, Trump?
Yeah. You get your hair plugs going.
I'm just saying, you know.
You get your spray tan
Yeah.
that everybody knows is
Some-
fake, but you keep
sometimes-
doing it anyway.
Sometimes you
You get your
just gotta
BBL?
throw.
You know what I love?
Sometimes you just gotta throw T-shirts at Puerto Ricans, you know, or was it paper towels?
I don't
Paper
even
towels.
understand
He'll
that
throw
reference.
paper towels. He threw paper towels
know-
at Puerto Ricans.
Bush got like a shoe thrown at him one time.
Oh, true.
Bush
You know what I love
was
so
the
much?
old Biden. Biden is the new Bush.
Yeah,
I love
vice versa.
yeah.
I love on
It
South
works
Park.
both ways.
You're
yeah,
right.
exactly.
I love on South Park how Mr. Garrison is Donald Trump. That
What?
entire thing. Have you guys watched
Is
any
that
of
one
that?
of the
That
new
shit's
ones?
so
Nope.
funny.
Yes,
it's so
yeah.
funny.
I
You
gotta
gotta
watch
watch
did
it.
that. It was pretty good.
Yeah, he turns into Donald Trump. He is
gets the
Donald Trump
tan
on the
and
yeah.
all kinds of
He
Yeah.
starts going, "We're gonna f them all to death." that's his like
Yeah.
campaign thing.
Mr. Garrison's an innovator.
Dude, I love him. And then he
I'm
Yeah.
predicting he'll be the next president, though. In my opinion, I think Trump will
You think so?
probably get 100%. I think he'll get elected.
I don't know what to think.
Trump?
I
Yeah,
know
I think
that
Trump
both
get
of these
elected.
guys are way too old.
I
both
agree with
of
that. I think
them.
both of them need to be
I
retired.
think both.
Bro, there needs to be
100%.
an age limit.
If either one gets elected, it's very important that they select the proper, the right vice presidential candidate.
and like cabinet
because-
members.
Yeah, because
In
if,
case
if
one
one
of
of them
dies.
croaks or whatever, right? Like FDR died during
100%.
World War II, and then Truman took over, right? And Truman was a pretty somewhat capable president. But if you got a dumbass in there like we do right now for the vice president, I
That's
don't
not
think
good.
it could be a disaster for the country. So both of them need to be really
I feel
careful.
like we're already in a disaster, to be honest.
I think either way, we're,
we're fucked.
So-
I think it's over.
you know,
life.
Yeah, I,
don't
think
know,
we should
dude.
kill ourselves.
That's
America?
such a tough thing because, like, I feel like I hear so many people talk like that, and it's a little bit like just discouraging to be like,
Defeatist.
yeah, to have that type of mentality like moving forward. Like we're still maybe I'm just like too far removed from politics because I really don't follow this kind of stuff. I know a lot.
I mean, neither.
just
I don't watch
follow
fucking
any of
news.
this shit
I
either,
watch,
to be
I
honest.
don't watch
a lot of
CNN.
people.
I don't watch none of that.
Yeah, I just don't, and I don't know. I believe in like us as people, and
Not me anymore.
I think I really do.
so what are you trying to say? That you think that we should be optimistic about the future of the country?
Yeah, the structure is wrong, but
Yeah, for sure.
I would hope that we can at least come together as citizens, as people, to be able to be able to work together. And
Yeah, 100%.
achieve
I feel like
things in the country, like
yeah,
you know,
Republicans and Democrats should work
pass
together.
the
I'm
right
not
policies
disagreeing with
and,
that.
like
When I say we're, I mean it goes beyond presidency. I mean like
Yeah.
our national, debt is gonna break the
it's
dollar,
through
dude.
the roof.
Within
Yeah,
the
I've been
next
waiting to get on that.
probably next 20 or 30 years, we're probably gonna break the
that.
dollar, dude.
I've been waiting to get on that.
It's up, dude. Like we can't.
What do you
We
mean?
can't we can't balance the national budget. I think we owe like $34 trillion right now, and we spend $7 trillion a year, which puts us in additional debt. So like we're currently digging a hole. I think it's like a 3 to 4 trillion like deficit every year. That's putting us further in debt. And the only way
Right
that we
now-
fight that off is with inflation.
America is like, yeah,
So-
exactly. It's ballooning the money supply is the only solution.
And it's gonna
America
collapse.
right now,
the dollar will collapse eventually.
we're like a teenager that maxed out their credit card and is opening up a second credit card and a third credit card to pay off the first two.
Right.
That's basically what
Yikes.
we're doing. So,
which is crazy because we collect, I think, like 30.
But, like,
what was it,
what's-
30
what
trillion?
happens to that teenager in the end?
What's the point of just saying
They declare
like,
bankruptcy.
Yeah,
we're
this
just
is what our yearly income through taxes is 30 trillion. Our what we spend is 37 trillion. So we go 7 trillion into debt every year, which is
Right.
what's insane.
Yeah, and that debt has interest too.
What
Yeah,
do
it
you really
has
have
interest.
anything to do with that? You know what I mean? Like that's
As regular
generations
people?
before us, and like just all
As
of
people
these
really
political
know,
entities
we don't
that-
have a whole lot to do with
You
that.
know what I mean?
It's,
Yeah, like
the
me
US
as a
government is-
person, I'm kind of like, well,
Yeah,
I
like,
might have
I
been
just
handling
don't
my
get it. I don't get how
Yeah,
we
you're like,
can't,
I'm not loaning anybody money.
I don't get how we can't balance.
I'm not
the-
borrowing money from anybody.
So I believe in people. I believe in like us.
What doesn't make sense to me is they say they can't balance the debt, right?
Right.
Why don't you take 2 years of tax payments? Everybody take a loss,
Or
soldiers-
maybe
soldiers
we could
take
just
a
not
loss.
be in wars for a couple years.
That too, and maybe we can stop sending money overseas. But like,
Wars make money.
if
I
you
mean,
take our national
Depends on
income,
which war.
you take our national income for 2 years from taxes, put that to the debt, everything goes back to zero. We're good. But that won't happen. The dollar will collapse before that happens. 100%.
The dollar is having problems right now because a lot of people think that the reason is going so bad right now is because we have Biden in the White House. And that, partially that's true. Biden's not a great president. I don't know if this administration is doing a really great job, but I think that the bigger problem here is our fiscal policy, our monetary policy. The Federal Reserve has been up for like 25 or 30 years.
Print money like it's
they're printing more money,
stickers.
and the reason they're doing that and they're ballooning them, like inflation. Literally, the definition of it is a ballooning of the money supply. It's
right.
an
It's to make
expansion
your
supply.
debt worthless.
If I loan you $100 million, right? Or wait, no,
Son of a.
that's back.
God damn it.
All right, hold on a second.
How about
This is
start
actually
with
how it
like
goes, 'cause I'm-
$5. Go back to
No.
$5.
The
man.
reason why is
It's
because I'm
better and bigger.
The reason why is
increments.
because I'm thinking about the way bonds work. And the way that it works is like this. With U.S. government securities, like
James?
treasury bonds and shit like that, it's because I'm f***ed up. So U.S. government securities, like treasury bonds and shit like that, the way that it works is if you buy a bond, then essentially what you're doing is you're loaning the U.S. government money, right?
That's exactly what a
So
bond
you,
is.
yeah, exactly. So you loan the U.S. government money, right? And the
Banks,
biggest,
really. You're
it's
loaning
mostly,
banks.
a lot of it's China.
But you're right. Yeah.
So China has loaned the U.S. government a lot of money. Okay, so if they loan the U.S. government lots of money, the U.S. government is borrowing from them. When the U.S. government pays them back, if they've printed more money to pay them back with, then basically what they're paying them back with is worth less than what China originally
which reduces your
loaned.
debt.
Exactly.
It reduces the value of the debt overall.
Yeah.
Which makes the debt seem more insignificant, which in turn
The value of what I'm
raises
paying you back
inflation.
is less than
Yeah.
what you loaned me to begin
which
with.
raises inflation, which should inconsequentially raise wages, but it ain't
Shiesty.
really raising
Yes.
wages.
So what happens is who ends up paying for that loan, right? That China gave to America. China loans money to America. America prints more money out to pay China back with dollars that are worth less than what they were when China loaned that money to the US. And when that money is worth less, what happens is somebody has to pay for that because there's real and nominal value. Real
Right.
value, right, is the things that the shit that things are actually worth. How much things are actually worth. Nominal value is the number that were to those items, right? Just like a McDouble used to be $1.08 with tax, and now it's like 5 something with tax. That McDouble hasn't changed in value, hasn't changed in real value, but it has changed in nominal value by a large margin, right? So when I'm printing money out and paying you back money that you loaned me, then what that does is it makes it so that I'm essentially sidestepping the entire value returning that value to you as the loaner, right? And as the person that's taking the loan or whatever, that's a shiesty ass move on my part. So you got all these different countries loaning money to the U.S. and then you have private citizens also buying T-bills and bonds and all that U.S. government securities. They've also loaned money to the U.S. government. Everybody thinks that's a safe bet because in the history of the United States, the U.S. has never defaulted on any loan, not even once.
But it's going to happen.
We've never done
eventually.
that.
It'll
We've
have
never
to.
defaulted, but it will have to happen
gonna
eventually.
happen. Yeah.
So what happens is we balloon the money supply, we pay people back dollars that are worth less than whatever they loaned us. And who ends up paying for that in the end? It happens to be anybody that owns dollars, then anybody that relies on dollars
Now you got it.
as like a store of wealth.
Yep.
And that includes other countries that use U.S. dollars as a reserve currency. That includes private citizens that have U.S. dollars like cash
Right.
stored
The
in
taxpayer.
banks, in safes, whatever
Under
the
your-
so it starts diminishing the value of all your dollars. And when the value of all your dollars diminishes, then people are going to start looking for an alternative currency. So what happens is people start looking at maybe creating a new fiat currency that's backed by something that maybe
Crypto.
has existed for a long time.
Gold
It
standard.
could be gold standard, silver standard. It could be crypto. It could be any of those things, or it could be this new thing that they're trying to do with the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Those 5 countries are some of the biggest economies in the world. Some of them are emerging as some of the biggest economies in the world, and they're now looking at creating their new currency to replace the U.S. dollar because they realize that what's
That
happening
gonna
here
crack, dude.
is America is abusing the fact that they can print more of this money out and essentially pay them back something that's worth less than what America borrowed.
100%. And MIT is projected that the collapse will happen in anywhere between 2035 to like 2040. So like that's like on its way, bro.
I feel like
Yeah.
every bad
So-
prediction that we have happens way sooner than we thought.
Good.
Because I remember when I was an apprentice and we were like, oh, we're not going to see climate change in our lifetime. And then like 5 years later, there's like serious shit happening.
I don't know how much I believe about the climate change. I feel like within every like 100 years, we have like what we think is significant climate change, but over like a huge timeline, it's insignificant.
I feel like
the planet usually balances itself back out.
shit's always gets crazier way faster than we thought. Like just in general. And
Possibly,
with all
yeah.
the AI, just everything gets crazier way faster than we thought.
I just think circling back to the
presidency,
the Federal Reserve, or just we can circle back to the presidency.
Well, go ahead with the Federal Reserve point because I got one to build off of what she just said about AI.
No, you can go ahead.
So what I was about to say to circle back to the presidency is how old these are.
Yeah.
So we have this emerging technology in artificial intelligence that is both a good and a bad thing, right? It's going to help a lot of people in a lot of ways, but it's also threatening to take a lot of people's jobs because it can do many jobs that previously required someone to go to school for 6 to 10 years to gain an expertise and wealth of knowledge in a particular area, like a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, people like that. And AI pretty soon is going to be able to do all those jobs for us.
AI probably be able to balance the national deficit.
It's going to be able to
How do we
manage your
balance the
finances.
national deficit?
Taking her jazz.
It's going to be able to manage your finances. It's going to be able to prescribe you medicine with the right legal hurdles. You know what I'm saying? Once all that gets into play, it's going to be able to give you legal advice. It's going to be able to do all these things. And right now, we are boosting it in terms of its accelerated rate of growth exponentially by investing in it. So if you look at like Nvidia, for instance, they actually just took over the largest overall market
stock
cap.
market right now.
Yeah, they're bigger than Apple
Holy
right now in terms of their total value.
dude.
They're bigger than Amazon right now in terms of their total value. Just Nvidia.
It's like 2.75 trillion.
Yep, and Nvidia, what they do is they make
They
hardware.
graphics cards and shit.
They make
right?
hardware that is a AI that is necessary for this AI to perform optimally or at the peak efficiency or whatever the right. So I'm invested in AI ETFs and I've made quite a bit of money off of them. Not a giant amount, but good percentage like returns or whatever. And I don't think that that's going to stop. And I think the reason it's going to just grow exponentially is because people are dumping way more money into this than we can. It's faster how much we're growing it financially than what we can calculate in terms of what the end result is going to be and the effect that it's going to have
scary.
on citizens.
Okay, so hold on. So what you're explaining
Old
to
presidents
is like
don't understand it.
Okay, yeah. So you're right. Also, as weird of a juxtaposition this is, like what you're saying is like because you contribute to the market and like you can kind of like anticipate AI is like killing it and you make money off of that, we're part of the problem.
Exactly.
I do too.
And this is like part of the chink, no pun intended, because I'm Asian, right? This is part of the chink in capitalism's armor.
We also identify that like we hate the way the direction this is going, but it's hard to almost pull out of
That's how I feel about
the
social
strongest
media.
markets and like the most
Exactly. We have to go with the momentum of what's making the most bread.
positive, the most promising.
We have to do that.
And this is really difficult
As individuals, we do.
right? And
Otherwise you're losing.
we've seen this in like movies and shit,
It's
you know what I
terrible.
mean? Where like it starts to move this direction where like AI is taking over and it's like gonna
We're
take our jobs.
we're
and all
letting
this
it
stuff.
and we're actually forcing it to happen right now.
So I guess how do we like combat that?
By having the proper regulations in place for this industry that's emerging right now. And the only way to do that is to have people that understand it in positions of power, at least advising people that are in positions of power.
Get
And
more
that's all
right now,
young
tattoos.
people.
I don't
Get
it's
more
all young
tattoos.
people. Get more tattoos, yeah. So
That's all I have to say.
I just don't think that either one of these presidents are focused on that at all, and I don't think they understand it at all, and I don't think that it's an issue for them because if you think about the perspective,
Do you think
of
it's
somebody,
because they're too old?
It doesn't matter to
They're
them.
not going to be here long.
They're not
enough.
going to be here long
That
enough.
is exactly what I've experienced with all of the older people. They're just kind of like, well, stock market's killing it for like what I've been doing. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. And
what I've
if you're
experienced.
My
invested,
turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
the average investor is invested in the S&P 500 mostly right now. If they have a financial advisor that's giving them advice, then the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies, most successful companies in the United States. And that 500 list rotates as companies become less successful and drop off that list, and as companies become more successful and get onto that list. And AI-related companies, such as like Tesla, they got on the S&P 500, right? They are largely an AI company. They're an energy company. They're a car manufacturer, but they also have a lot to do with AI. And if people are invested in that primarily as the average U.S. citizen that's like investment savvy, right? Then anybody that invests in the S&P 500 is also indirectly investing into AI. And that shit's getting really, really big, really, really fast. And it's going to happen. People think this is something 50 years down the road, 60 years down the road. I think it's more like 10. And we don't have a president in the White House that understands that right now. And I don't think that there is a viable candidate that does, except for, what's that Asian dude's name? Andrew Yang. He's the only one that really understands this shit. But
As
his
a
whole, yeah, I don't even know if he's running this year, but he ran last election.
Okay.
And he didn't do very well. And it's mostly because
I've never even heard of him.
his whole thing.
He was an independent.
He was an independent, and his whole thing, maybe it was the last one or the one before that, but his whole thing is if companies like Amazon and Apple and all these like giant tech companies are making all this money off of stealing everybody's data, then we should be taxing them more and giving those taxes out to citizens as checks, essentially, to basically be like, okay,
to compensate them for the data.
To compensate them for the data that they took. That's his solution to it. But if you give everybody free money, then what happens to people's motivation to work? It kind of saps it.
I mean, how much
so that
is
actually
everyone
exacerbates
gonna
the problem
make,
to a
really?
certain
But it
extent.
might not be like as direct as that, dude. It's almost just like reparations for just like, yo, you give up all of your
probably wouldn't
information
get
like
that
that.
much
You should
money
probably get a
off
little
I don't
bit.
think
he was
that would
he
be
was
that
talking
much.
$1,200 a month.
What
Oh,
the?
yeah, that'd be hard.
But I'm
Y'all
just
think
saying,
you got
But what is that
$1,200
$1,200 worth?
month?
$1,200 is the nominal. That's the number,
Dude,
right?
yes.
What's the real value of it, and what will that be 10 years after that
also,
policy is
do you
established?
really think like if that's his goal, you think that's what would actually get approved? Fuck
I
no.
want
No,
my
it wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
as a black man.
You're like, I need that.
I want my reparations.
reparations, dude. You
I
ever
want
seen
my
that?
reparations.
Do you watch Atlanta,
No,
bro? You don't watch Atlanta? Anybody?
No.
Fuck,
I've
it's
heard
so
of it, but I've never seen it.
Dog.
Does it have T.I. in it? I'm just kidding.
No,
That's a movie called ATL. It's almost the same shit.
nah.
But-
It's Donald Glover created the show. Super good. But anyways, there's an episode where basically it's just like this hypothetical scenario where what the fuck is that, fool?
it's Gorilla Tape.
So basically, hypothetical
It
scennario
just keeps going.
where all the black people get their reparations from like even just generations of like slave owners,
That's hard.
and then all of a sudden like black people are like, you know, just like hella coming up.
All right, y'all want to talk about reparations right now?
That'd be cool.
What does that got to do with the presidency, though? Stay on
All right,
topic.
yeah,
Well, it's still political, though. You know, do you think black people deserve reparations? get your
That's a
opinion
hard
on
question.
that.
That's a hard question.
I'm curious what your answer is.
What is it? The how many acres and a?
First of all,
There's
I'm
40
native.
acres in the mule.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna get reparations, it should be natives and blacks.
Okay, hold on.
What about
so,
the Jews?
so
But the
I'm
China,
native.
The
What about
Chinamen
the
built the
Jews?
railroad.
All right, we got a little bit of, you know, everything going on in this room.
Yeah, and the Chinese.
But I will
He's
say,
a Jew.
The
Korean.
Chinese, the Chinese
for
built the railroad.
What the
Go ahead, Adam.
100%.
so to start
We're
this
not
trying to
conversation,
quote
if
Nas.
we're diving into this,
And
not posting
natives,
this
y'all
fucking-
got money and y'all got land and shit. We didn't get shit as black people. So,
Right. That's
you know,
unfortunate.
Cultural currency, but you made that, so
I think it's
saying.
just like almost like this presidency thing. It's just the way that the economy shifts itself, and like they kind of forcefully make things happen. So with Native Americans, kind of got gypped out of a lot of land, and then they were just
100%.
kind of like, oh yeah, you can have a little bit.
Here you have
it wasn't
this
even
corn over here,
gypped
this
out though.
corn
It was a
over
whole genocide that happened.
But
So
also with
that and
it
dirty
wasn't even
trades.
it wasn't even about the land. It was
like here,
also
have
with the
this fire water. Give me this land. You know,
right.
here you
So
go.
Here's a
small-
blanket.
smallpox,
Yeah.
yeah, just genocide, all of that.
We brought you
Same
these
thing happened with
blankets.
black people though. 400 years of
Yeah,
slavery.
400 years of slavery.
You guys were literally shipped from your own country. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we have light skins.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
So I think it's
We're
just
fucking-
reparations. Yeah, I mean, you would think.
Reparations would be pretty tight. I
It
don't
would
think we'll
be.
ever get it though.
I don't think
I
it'll
don't think it's ever going to
happen.
happen because
100%
it's
no.
almost like when somebody owes you money for a long time, you just forget about it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm never getting it back.
Don't
Like,
they?
It is. I'm just going to stop
rarely
asking.
That's fucked, though.
officially
Like, you don't
apologize
stop.
for either, like the government.
Why would the government apologize for slavery? It wasn't the government's fault. It was just allowed. It wasn't, outlawed by the. Everyone was. It was a
should
personal
they
thing.
apologize? Who
No,
should
I don't think
apologize?
so because slavery was a personal enterprise by every person who took part in
It
it.
was
be-
privatized.
Yeah, it
and
was.
It wasn't a
privatized.
government.
It wasn't a government sanctioned thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't
You know,
like
so you can't
mandated. Like
blame-
everyone gets
It was allowed by the
slaves.
government,
Right, it
but
was
it wasn't
allowed.
necessarily perpetuated by the government.
Exactly. It's just like any kind of drug use that was
Good point.
allowed until it was classified as a schedule whatever drug. You know, it's the same thing. Like you could buy cocaine back in the day or
the same thing where we talk about
Whatever.
capitalism, and don't get me wrong, man. Like I'm about capitalism and
It's
free
the
market.
system.
Like
It's
I'm
the
pretty
system.
conservative when it comes to my political viewpoints. But yeah, that's a big problem with capitalism is that whatever makes the most money is what goes.
100%.
And
slavery.
That's what happened with slavery, and that's what's happening with AI right now.
Slavery and immigrant labor built this country.
Exactly. It's cheap labor. Really, that's all it is. It's cheap
labor.
or free labor.
Free or
And
cheap labor.
AI is the
labor
new
beat
free
this
labor.
country.
It's the new
100%.
one.
Damn.
So,
There you
yeah.
go.
It
So
is a
full
new
circle.
this country is built
full
on.
circle.
100%.
AI.
It's
cheap
the new
labor.
thing.
Are
And
we
do
gonna
you
have
think
to
the
pay
AI slave is gonna
reparations
want to
to
be a slave
AI?
for long?
Why would we pay reparations?
I'm kidding.
AI, if
It's
we
a
had,
joke.
if the singularity ever took place, AI would have all the money it needed to build whatever it wanted to build
That's
for
true.
itself, because
Yeah.
it would be smarter than
For itself? I don't know about
100%.
that. It's going to be built into
What
its
does it
parameters that it
want?
serves humans.
Are you talking about like 3D printers, like
So
how they operate, where like an AI thing can like
That's
operate
robotics and shit.
and build its fucking
Robotics.
Yeah,
But that's
combined
what I'm
with
saying.
AI.
Is that's
Yeah, I'm saying
That's
if,
where it's
if,
going.
if
That's where it's
AI,
going.
the singularity, you guys are familiar with the singularity, right?
no.
Like Bender
What?
on
Bender.
Futurama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Futurama.
he
Cigars
becomes a
and-
singularity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean,
does he really?
yeah, in one of the episodes.
Bender is already, before he becomes a singularity, a part of the singularity. He's a robot that has consciousness. That's what the singularity is. When AI gets its own ability,
When it becomes self-aware.
yeah, when it's self-aware, it becomes able to think for itself and absorb
Oh,
all the
I thought that
information.
meant like Unity type.
No.
He does like overcome everything, and then he's like, I don't want to do this.
So when AI becomes self-aware,
It will grow exponentially.
It will grow exponentially once it gets access to the internet.
Yes.
Because then it'll be able to absorb all the information.
Once it doesn't
of
have
all
any
time.
more, what do you call it, like bumpers, like when you're bowling and it's
Yeah.
got the bumpers on the lane. Once it has no more rails to,
It'll be able to
kinda
process
keep it corralled
all
in.
of our information in a split second and then make choices that either hurt
It'll
or
get
help
ultra
humanity.
powerful and it will grow exponentially.
So that's why I say it'll have the resources, because it'll know how to make money on the stock market, buy a land, create,
and eventually what
like
will happen
that.
is it'll be smarter than anybody else
100%.
that lives on planet Earth, and we will start listening to it
It'll
without
be
any
our
question.
God. It'll be our
It will be
new
our
God.
God. That's where I was going with
100%.
it. And right now what we're doing is we're funding, by investing in it, we're funding our own future God.
100%.
Are you guys ever jealous of people that like died like between like in 2019 and just like didn't go through all this?
No.
Because I'd be
No.
thinking about that a lot
No.
We're
lately.
still here. That.
I mean,
still here.
Here's the best case scenario. With
Gangsters
it.
don't die, we multiply.
Here's the best case
Not me.
scenario.
I'm not a gangster.
It becomes a God that serves the people that are on this earth, and it makes life.
It's not the way gods work, bro.
I know. I'm aware. Then, because I'm a realist and I'm a cynic, and I don't believe that's how it would happen. I feel this is the best case scenario. It serves humankind for the greater good and cures all diseases.
That could be cool.
Makes it so that no one has to work. Everyone has everything. There's clean water. It clears up that ozone.
You're right.
Worst case scenario, it either annihilates us or subjugates us because it needs to protect itself from us.
I was just
destroying
thinking
it.
about
Matrix
like how
stuff.
we've kind of pushed the limits on like human ability to explore space and like do all of these things that we're trying to figure out answers to all of these like unanswered questions, like
He's cut off. He's had too many. Look at him.
just
All the dark parts of him are coming out. Not because you're black, but like, you know what I mean?
I've had 4.
Because
What
you're
do you
sick.
mean?
He's
I've had
like, I'm
4.
gonna duct tape Adam. That's all it takes is 4.
It's just shock value,
For
bro.
the
All right, so
BDSM.
we kind of like
to come out of
reached
you.
our limit of like all of these
Don't
things,
cool
like
me
the
out, man.
parameters of like what we can do in this world. So
I don't think
of
we have.
course, like we would try
I
to
don't think
fund
so either.
something like that.
I
to
think
be able
humans
to-
have more in our tank, but certainly AI is more capable than we are
and
of
that-
pushing
maybe-
us forward
I think
faster.
that's why we're
Yeah.
funding that, because
Here's
we're like,
what I
maybe
think
that's
will
it.
happen,
It can
though.
do something that we can't.
But
we
what's
got Neuralink, right? That Elon's putting in people's
Mm-hmm.
brains right now. Now imagine that's like stage 1. We got the Neuralink popping off, and then the singularity cracks off, and then the singularity takes control of the people with the microchips.
That's what that
in
movie
their
Atlas
brain.
is about that just came out on Netflix.
I could see that.
That's pretty
yeah.
tight.
It
Yeah.
can happen, bro. And then we have either like a super race of like augmented
Well, that's like the microchip thing.
cyborg
Everyone was just
human
like,
beings
COVID's
type
happening. I'm gonna get microchipped. Like,
I
Just
don't know. There's that could cause a lot of problems. If you start getting a computer consciousness, right? Like a digital consciousness, like AI that
or
can,
just imagine
can make
you
better
have,
decisions.
Imagine you have an internal search engine like
Give me a
Google
second
in
here.
your brain.
So if you get
That'd be cool.
a sentient digital consciousness that can make better decisions and is better at solving problems than any human being on Earth, there's no guarantee that we're going to listen to it. Like it might tell us, hey, you guys are up with the debt problem and you're ballooning the money supply and you're doing this and you're doing that. This is the way to fix it. A lot of politicians will be like, that's not in my best interest.
We could
because
literally
because I'm not going to make money when
that takes is for us to take 2 steps back to take another step forward, and nobody wants to take 2 steps back in this country. That's just
God
not the way that we fucking
himself
work.
could give us the answers, and people are so retarded.
People
They'd be like,
nope.
no,
they're not retarded. They're just it's not.
People
I'm
are
not selling
retarded.
my
It's
truck.
not self-serving.
I'm not selling my
People are
truck.
retarded.
It's not within their personal interest to do it.
Exactly. So
yeah.
human beings, including politicians, probably won't listen to it. And when they don't listen to it, the AI might be like, maybe I'll just go ahead and do what's best for y'all.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
take them out.
He's like, I'm not gonna be around here long enough anyway, so let me just get mine while I'm getting mine, so I can live a good life.
Everybody is living for right now. If you have kids and you have grandkids, then you're living for future generations and shit. But right now, the attitude in the country, as far as I can tell, is no, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
100%.
And I don't think
I'm
that's
gonna
gonna.
get
That's
mine.
what our country's always been about.
Our country's about, I'm gonna get mine. You.
Exactly.
I want my American
You pay me,
dream.
individualism.
Yeah. I want my American
Competition
dream.
is good, but at the same time, competition is what got us in this spot to begin with. And like I said, I say that as somebody that is a free market, like capitalist type of person. In some ways, it can be pretty unhealthy, and we're starting to see some of those ways. We saw it with slavery. We're seeing it with AI, and right now we don't have a president in the White House that understands these complexities. And maybe there's no one human being out there in this whole country that understands all this shit and is capable of running the country. But we
not
have
one
to
of these old.
have
We need some
somebody
younger
that is,
people, bro.
like kind of explaining this shit in layman's terms.
We
to whoever the
need
fuck is making
younger
decisions.
people in the White House.
We need
bro.
younger people right now, not
We need
extremely
younger people
young.
in politics.
Not extremely
And when
young,
I
but we-
say young, I mean like
30s and
35.
40s. Yeah, 30s and 40s.
There needs to be like a
Should
80
be like the new age.
needs to
The new, because what is it, 45?
70 ain't cutting it.
You have to be 45 is the minimum.
I
There
think
should be
to
like
run
a
for
driving
president,
age
I
where
think
they
it's
like
35.
cap you off.
Is it
at, what is it,
35?
I
like
think it is
65 or
35.
something?
Yeah.
Is it 35 or
To
45
run for
to run?
president,
Oh, yeah,
I
to
think it's
run?
35.
But there should also be a max limit.
no, there
Like, you're
needs to
driving
be a
I-
and
max
it's like-
I thought the
limit.
same
There should be
thing.
a
Like
max-
80.
be a
Great
max.
grandma can't be out here on these streets. You know
Hell
what I mean?
no.
She's got
It should
cataracts.
be
Well,
65.
we live in Arizona, so I've thought the same thing for a long time. That after you turn 65, you should have to get retested for your driver's
65.
license every year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every
Same
year.
thing.
Bruh.
There should be a
It's
mental
lawless.
acuity test every year. I don't care if you're president or not.
Yeah.
If you're president and you're like slipping,
But who's running that test?
like
And-
Mitch McConnell,
And what are their motivations for fudging the results?
we need an independent source that cannot be at all, dude. It's got to be placed on a beacon on a shining hill type of, you know.
There ain't really nobody like that out there.
Yeah, probably not.
There ain't
yet.
AI.
nobody's that pure morally.
AI.
Everybody has their own intentions.
We
their
need
own
AI
wants.
to do
I know
it.
who could do
AI
it.
could do it.
AI could do it.
All right, AI, step up. Where the f you at? Allen
coming.
Iverson.
AI for president.
Allen Iverson.